there be fun. Celebrating 13 months of fun, fearless and factual content.
Hello?
It's been a great first year, from the engaging shows that are now part of your daily routine.
This homecoming era has never been this fascinating.
Now it's time we took things up a notch. To the excitement on our social media timelines. Join us in celebrating 13 months of giving you fun, fearless and factual content.
I love it.
As we unveil a new bouquet of shows, amazing events, and incredible giveaways. Stay tuned over the next couple weeks as we turn things up. Scan your DVB-T2 compatible TV or multi-TV decoder to MX24, or stay up to date with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. MX at 1.3. Let there be fun. Celebrating 13 months of fun, fearless and factual content.
Hello?
It's been a great first year, from the engaging shows that are now part of your daily routine.
This homecoming era has never been this fascinating.
Now it's time we took things up a notch. To the excitement on our social media timelines. Join us in celebrating 13 months of giving you fun, fearless and factual content.
I love it.
As we unveil a new bouquet of shows, amazing events, and incredible giveaways. Stay tuned over the next couple weeks as we turn things up. Scan your DVB-T2 compatible TV or multi-TV decoder to MX.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Spotlight. It's an honor that you have joined us this evening for yet another hour of relevant conversations. Tidal waves have swept through some portions of the Volta region, specifically the Keta-Aflawo stretch, leaving hundreds of people displaced and many others living in fear. This is not the first time such an incident has occurred in that particular area. In fact, the fourth time this year alone. Tonight on Spotlight, we are looking at how these incidences can be tackled to make the area safer for residents. We're going to be speaking with Kwame Gakpe. He's a member of parliament for Keta. We're also going to be speaking with George AEC, who is a communications officer of NADMO, Seth Yomewu, who is a district chief executive of Angloga, and Dr. Philip Neri Kwashiga, who is a research fellow at the Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies at Legon. Please stay with us. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come, our guests will be joining us quickly for this discussion.
Across Africa, nations are beginning to trade among themselves like never before, creating the largest continental market the world has ever seen. On the Single African Market Program, we will show you how products, services, capital and people will be crossing barriers as the continent and its citizens embrace a single market in a sustainable manner for growth and development to meet targeted UN development goals.
Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Get the latest update on all opportunities from the Continent's Trade House. Know the success stories and how challenges are being addressed. Africa is ready to trade among itself and the world, so are the people. The single African market is the voice of businesses that trumpets the vision of Africa everywhere. In association with the Government of Ghana, International Chamber of Commerce, Business for Peace Foundation, GIZ, UNECA, and UNDP.
The Single African Market, this Monday at 8 p.m. on MX24.
Hello, welcome back to Spotlight. Thank you for staying. As mentioned earlier, we're discussing the tidal waves that have swept through some portions of the Volta region. Now, earlier today, the Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asensio-Boakye, gave a press conference on this particular subject. Let's take a quick listen to what he said, and then we can come back to the discussion.
I wish to sincerely empathize with our people whose properties worth a fortune have been ravaged following this unfortunate incidents. I must reiterate that government acknowledges the urgent need to permanently address the devastating effect of tidal waves in the affected towns of Agavaji, Salakope, and Amichuni communities in the K2 South constituency, and indeed the rest of other communities that are experiencing similar challenges along the coastal stretch. These communities are on the same coastal stretch as Blekusu, also in the K2 South constituency. As part of measures to curb these devastating incidents in these towns, in July 2015, the Ministry of Works and Housing engaged measures Amandi Holding Limited to design and construct coastal protection works along this stretch, starting from Blekusu and working towards Agavaji, Salakope, and Amichunu under the Blekusu Coastal Protection Project. The project, which protects 4.3 kilometers of coastal stretch, had the first phase completed in July 2019 and has since functioned effectively, protecting lives, livelihoods, properties, whilst reviving fishing activities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Works and Housing knows the sense of urgency for undertaking the second phase of the project to protect Adina, Agavaji, Salakope, and Amichuni communities and others to the east of Blekusu. To this end, the ministry has commenced urgent steps to implement the second phase of the project. The ministry has finalized the evaluation of the relevant proposals to start works under the second phase of the project. It is important to note that in April 2021, a technical team from the Hydrological Services Department of the Ministry, upon my directive, traveled to the affected communities to engage the municipal chief executive and some community leaders on the matter of the implementation of the second phase. I also had the opportunity to lead a technical team to visit those communities to have a first-hand understanding of the matter and the situation on ground. It is envisaged that the completion of the works envisaged under the second phase of the project will cover a minimum coastal stretch of 8,000 meters, that is 8 kilometers. And this will surely ensure the total protection of the people of Agavaji, Salakope, Amichuni, Adina communities and other affected communities within the constituency that continue to bear the brunt of these occasional disasters. The ministry is currently actively working with the Ministry of Finance to raise the needed funding for the implementation of the second phase. ladies and gentlemen of the press, while government makes all the necessary effort to avert these unfortunate perennial occurrences, I wish to appeal to our coastal residents to avoid any practices that expose them to vagaries of the rising sea levels. There have been reported cases of sand winning, uprooting of mangrove along the coastal stretch. The investment by government cannot yield the needed protection if people continue to engage in such.
And that was the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, Honorable Francis Asensu-Boakye, giving an update of what government is presently doing to tackle that situation there. We've been joined on the lines by the Member of Parliament for that area, Keta specifically, Member of Parliament, Kwame Gakpe, and he's on the line. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us on the phone. So far, you have been engaging with your constituents. What is the extent of the damage? How many people have been affected?
Estimatedly, about 3,000 people have been affected, and then 300 households are currently, we don't have shelter for them, so we are managing them in school, building, as well as a community center, uncompleted community center. So far, that's how we are managing them. And then some of the areas that the tidal waves have actually flooded were places more than over 30 years. We haven't experienced such events. So this is very new to us. And then, I mean, I can't comprehend. It's so pathetic. People are devastated. As I'm talking to you, I'm very passionate talking to you about it. When you look at the state of devastation, people's buildings are gone. And then this issue is happening within 3 constituencies. Ketu South, Keta, and Anglo constituencies. And then one of the communities in the Ketu South, the whole community is gone. All the building is gone as we speak.
Honorable, you say some of these areas have not seen such devastation in some 30 years. And
Yes.
if this is occurring suddenly out of the blue like that, doesn't it seem like the problem is getting worse over there?
Yes. So the issue is that there are factors that are contributing to that. One of them is the climate change is one. Second, the inability of the government, central government, to continue phase 2 projects timely for the people is also creating this problem. As we speak, funds have been allocated in 2017, 18, 19, and 20 for the second phase of Keta Sea Defense. But where are the money? Nothing is going on. So I just want to place on record that the second phase of Keta Sea Defense project was supposed to claim land, reclaim lands, as well as protect the people. It's not there.
Has NADMO been to the area?
Yes, I met on my rounds. I met the district and then regional NADMO officials also around, including our chairman for Vuta Caucus, Honorable Bejira was here, as well as the media crew who accompanies the various sites.
What interventions have been made so far to help the people?
No intervention yet. It's only we are looking for place to keep the people for now, and then we are looking for putting how to get shelter for them as at now. And then the urgent thing is that some people need food, shelter, even if they have tents to accommodate them. Some people are of view that why we really speak them. These are the people since our ancestral days, decades ago. These are where they have lived, and this is where they are working. Their livelihood depends on the sea. Their livelihood and then income depends on the blue economy. So there is no way. And then Keta used to be the capital of Vuta region those days. As I speak, 2/3 of the land in terms of Keta have gone into the sea. And it's down there in the sea. And then the 1/3 that is actually left. If care is not taken, all will go. So we are just pleading with the central government. They collect the tax. We also pay duty, we pay tax, and we are Ghanaians. So and as I speak to you, I learned the Work and Housing Minister is in Accra doing press conference. Nobody has stepped foot in Qatar and its environment, Qatar staff to acquaint themselves with the situation that is happening. Even Minister of Interior was not able to even visit because NADMO is under Interior. None of them is here to actually look at what is happening, how the tidal waves have ravaged the whole place. Nobody to acquaint themselves with the current prevailing issues. Nobody is here.
Honorable, when you say, you mentioned earlier that some 3,000 people have been displaced. Or you also say that no specific intervention has been made yet. So where are these people?
I told you we are housing them in a schools building, as well as community center, uncompleted, but they have roofing. So we are keeping some of the people there. And as I speak to you, at one of the community in Keti staff, the whole community is wiped out. Those people, we are looking for a place for them to even keep them.
Honorable, let me bring in, I'm not done with you yet, I'll be coming back with a few more questions, but let me bring the District Chief Executive for Angloga into the conversation. Hello, sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us on the phone there.
Thank you also.
Right. Your colleague there is mentioning that there's been no specific intervention so far. How are you working on the situation?
The issue is that I will talk at the side of Angloga. I'm not talking at the side of Keta. I think that is the Keta EP on the line.
Yeah, we understand.
The situation, I think, in my area too is very distressful because this house of the tidal wave issue is so pathetic that the people don't have any place to lay their heads. So as assembly, what we are doing is that we move on to the community today. And at the end, we have identified an area where we want to relocate the people, especially the people who are in improvement, so that they can move from the community in which they are to another high ground at around 2 new areas. So that's what we are doing now. And at the end, we are also where they are now is to also test. So we are also looking for another place for Ita people also to relocate, so that at that time when the water has come down, then we can move to wherever they come from. But actually, the problem we are having is about relief items. In assembly, we are also trying our possible best to get some items, and today the number of items from the region was also with us here. And they did our assessment. But the information I'm speaking is that by tomorrow or Wednesday, something will come from the headquarters for us. And at the end, we are appealing to some philanthropists to support us also. I think today, 3 people call me. For all Africa, they are also saying that they'll come for our aid. The former MP, Honorable, also called me that they are also mobilizing something. So by the end of the week, or by the close of the week, maybe Wednesday, they'll also be with us. So far, that's what we are doing. But the actual thing is that more or less ritual. Everybody has been experiencing all these things in the community. But what we need to do now to salvage the situation is a state defense for the also about. So we want to appeal to the federal government. So we know that our this office is very scarce. I want to appeal at the end to try as much as possible for us so that this defense wall will be in this community so that all this will be things of the past.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seth Yomewu. He's a District Chief Executive of Angloga, and he was just giving us a quick update on what interventions are being made so far. He's expecting that by the end of the week, they'll be able to contain the disaster to some extent. Let me go back to the line where we still have the Member of Parliament of Keta. Honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable, what are the... Yes. As part of the interventions, you were mentioning the completion of the sea defense project. But beyond that, what other interventions, what are the demands that your constituents are making?
No, for now, we are in emergency situation. So currently we need shelter, tents, food items, and other assorted items to relieve the people. That is the urgent one. But we have to find permanent solution to this issue. And that is why, when you listen to the district chief executive for Angola, what intervention is he talking about? He's talking about shelter for the people, putting them in classrooms and other places to relocate the people. Is that all the intervention? Government, central government should come to our aid. Are you getting the point?
Yes.
Since this thing happened, they are aware about it. Saturday, none of them, the ministers are sitting and making conferences in Accra. Is that the way to go? So we want the government to be serious, attach seriousness to this issue.
Honorable, if we want to solve this problem entirely in a way that it doesn't keep reoccurring, where do we begin from?
To solve this problem permanently, we have to resume the phase 2 of Qatar defense project. If we are able to do that, the problem is solved forever.
Have you received any communication as to why it has stalled?
That one, the central government has to answer that question. But to the best of our knowledge, they have been budgeted for. And then they have started from Western Central region, Greater Accra to Volta region. Why Volta region is not getting a portion? Are we not Ghanaians? Are we not paying tax? So why do they neglect Volta region? Meanwhile, 3 months ago, places that was devastated by the Tidal Waves, the Western Housing Minister went there and promised that he would do something about it. And one of the communities he went to, as I speak to you, the whole community is wiped out. Nobody, no building, nothing is there. And then the sea is closer to the road. So what is the seriousness from the central government attached to our plight? So we are not seeing that. So we are demanding urgent solution to this problem from the central government. It's not about street talk, about making press conference. We want them to attach seriousness. This is an emergency, and we need them.
Honorable, will you be filing in Parliament to get the minister to come and answer questions pertaining to this?
Tomorrow, you wait for tomorrow to come. We are going to organize press conference tomorrow, and we will hit. That's the only way to go.
What is
tomorrow? Three of us who are the members of Parliament, we are going to organize press conference supported by the Buta Caucus.
Right. What is the press conference going to focus on, please?
Issues we are discussing: immediate intervention to the people to get them relieved. The way forward in terms of resuming work on the second phase of Qatar defense project. Those are the issues we are going to talk.
Will you be requesting to summon the minister to Parliament?
We have done that already. If the need arises, we will do that.
Right.
Because we about 3 months ago, we summoned him to Parliament, and he came, and then told us all these things, but nothing is happening. So we will file urgent question as well as do press conference tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Honorable Gakpe is a member of Parliament for Keita. He also just mentioned that there will be a press conference tomorrow from 3 members of Parliament to come in and speak on this particular subject. We also have a video that the member of Parliament of Ketu South, Honorable Jifago Mashi, spoke at somewhere in July earlier this year. We're just going to take that quickly. Please stay.
I'd like to, on behalf of the people of Agavaji, Amuchinu, and Salakopa, make a passionate appeal to the state through His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. President, my people need a place to lay their heads. As a layperson, I can see the land across from the lagoon, but that would be just me speaking. I think that the municipal chief executive, the regional minister, the minister for works and housing, the minister for roads, these 4 people can come together and help us solve the problem of where the people can temporarily be accommodated, whilst we look at the bigger picture of the sea defense. So I'm just saying that as the representative of the people in Parliament, and also as Mama Jamado, the first of the community, I am only appealing on behalf of the people that the state responds to us as citizens are required to do.
That was the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Honourable Jifa Gomashi. We have on the line with us an environmentalist. He's also a research fellow at the Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies at Legon. That's Dr. Philip Neri. Hello, Doc. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us and for being patient with us over there on the line. You have been surveying the situation, and a lot of questions arise out of this. I mean, to the layman, when we talk about tidal waves, we have no idea exactly what they are and how they occur. Can you just briefly help us understand what tidal waves are and how they occur?
Thank you very much for this discussion. If we talk basically about tidal waves, as the name suggests, we have tides and we have so waves following on high tides basically. So what happens is that we have, if I should explain, tides is the rise and fall of the water, of the seawater. And this happens, it's a cycle that goes on based on forces from the moon and the sun. And so this is a cycle that goes on, but it comes to a point where we have high tides, and basically this follows when we have full moon. We call them spring tides. We have full moon. And what happens is that if the tide is high and the land is below water level, when this tide is high and then the waves also ride on these tides, we have them plunging into land and then flooding the area. And because of the force that comes with it, it's able to have impact on infrastructure along the coast. So in a nutshell, that is what tidal waves are.
You can, when we were speaking earlier, I think one of the things we noticed was that there have been some climate changes that seem to be affecting the reach and the impact that these waves are having. Are there any specific man-made activities that contribute to these tidal waves?
For directly, we can say there is any man-made, but definitely the climate change, we have a role to play in it. And this is a driving force because as we interfere with the climate, and then there is heating, there's melting of ice, the water is rising, it's coming back to us. So we have indirectly have a role to play. But also where we are also building on the shore, on the shoreline, it's also not good because naturally, if the water rises and we are on higher grounds, we are safe. But if the more we get closer to the sea, the more we'll feel the impact of this. So yes, and if we are also interfering with the beach, naturally we have dunes and coastal vegetation and other things that are able to intercept this when it happens. But if we are removing them, if we are interfering with them, then we are also increasing the problem.
But are there any reasons why it just keeps recurring? Because this year alone, we've experienced, this is the 4th time. Why is it recurring so rapidly?
Yes, so that takes us back to the climate change because it's a natural process. And if we are fueling it through the climate change, we are allowing increasing temperatures on the surface of the earth and all that. Then we are pushing this, and as projections have shown, as temperature rises, sea level will rise, and these things will continue to occur. So, and clearly, data is showing that the sea level is rising, and this will continue, and it's become more frequent as literature has shown because of rising temperatures and rising sea level. So it is not something, I should say that it is something that would increase in frequency based on climate projections. So it's something that is happening as a result of climate change.
Dr. Kashiga, you are saying we should expect more of this?
Yes, from climate change perspective, this is once temperature is rising, the sea level will rise. The winds will also begin to increase and will continue to increase in speed. So there's no way we can stop it as a natural force.
Will this remain with the areas along the coast, specifically the Volta region areas, or is this expected to extend? What is the impact on other areas?
Yeah, so because we are talking of water level, depending on the elevation of the area, some areas will suffer more. And if you look at it, the Volta area is a low-lying area. If you go to the western coast, it's more of highlands, so we don't hear this as much. So low-lying areas mostly below sea level and maybe 2 meters or 3 meters high. Once the sea level goes a certain height, those low-lying areas will all be receiving more. They will be impacted more than other areas. That is why we are seeing what is happening in the water, because it's a low-lying area.
Doc, please stay on the line with us. Let me just go to NADMO, Communications Officer for NADMO has just joined us, and I would like him to just take a few of the questions, and I'll come back to you shortly. Hello, good evening, Mr. AC.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for giving us your time. Now, I'm sure NADMO has been following up on this issue. The Ketu MP mentioned that he did see NADMO when he was making some rounds over there. By your assessment, what are the official figures of damage?
Damage?
How many people have been affected? How many homes have been destroyed?
Oh, okay. The stretch covers Angloga. I don't know which specific area. Are you referring to Ketao, Angloga, or all?
In all of them, when you add the 3 areas, how many people have been affected?
Well, the Keta enclave, I have about 1,557 people affected, 239 homes. And then in the Angloga area, 150 or so homes, and then about 700 people affected.
And the Ketu South?
Yeah, I don't have that data. I have these 2 area data.
Right. In terms of relief, where are we?
We're nowhere, and they are now doing the assessment, and so the relief, what kind of relief will be given is dependent on the assessment made. So in these instances, you need to look at saving the lives of the people and, if possible, the properties of the people. Then,
so
based on assessment, you know the kind of relief you can give them.
So you're basically...
And our regional director was there today, so he's definitely going to come up with the assessment, and that will determine the kind of relief to be sent to them.
How soon are the figures coming in, the assessment figures coming in, so you can determine what to do?
They were there today, so right after that, they need to make the assessment and then let us know what it is.
So okay, there's already close of day, so tomorrow we're expecting some progress?
Well, as long as the report, he makes the assessment and brings the report. That is, if his jurisdiction cannot contain what that they need, and he will need the support of headquarters, then that will be done. Otherwise, if it can be contained within the Volta regional jurisdiction, they will take care of it. But if it's beyond, headquarters will then be prompted to support, and then we will send the needed relief to go and then help them.
Right, but looking at the figures coming in presently, I mean, you said you have some 1,500 for the Keta area, some 700 people for Anglo. I mean, we spoke with the MP earlier who said some 3,000 people. Is this something you think the Volta region office can contain, or will it have to extend to the headquarters?
Well, the regional director has gone to the places and made the assessment. So based on his assessed report, that would determine what they have vis-a-vis what they would need to support. And so I cannot say 3,000. I don't know what they have in the Volta region warehouse. So to determine that, yes, they can contain all the 3,000. But off the top of my head, I don't think the Volta region can contain all the 3,000. If indeed the total number in all the 3 zones is the 3,000 or about.
Have we looked at ways of moving these residents permanently from these areas prone to tidal waves?
That is not within the remit of NADMO. NADMO can only make recommendations. Ministry of Works and Housing and governments will make that policy decision.
Right. So I don't think then you can answer why you think we keep seeing tidal waves reoccurring in that particular area.
Why we keep seeing it?
Yes, this is a fourth in 2021.
Yes, we know that enclave needs either a sea defense project or complete resettlement. And so these two are capital intensive, and that can be borne by government. And so, yes, if this is fourth, it tells us something that we need to make the decision, either to build the sea defense for them or we relocate them completely for their safety and the safety of their properties. It's important. Otherwise, we'll be there. Thank God we've not recorded any fatalities yet, but how long can we allow this to persist till we record fatalities? I don't think that should be the case. I think we need to make the decision now. Otherwise, maybe the next one will not be too good for all of us as a people and as a country.
Mr. Isi, as a disaster management organization, are you able to detect when the sea level is rising and warn residents?
Oh, Meteor's warnings and fall within those purview. Meteorological services sometimes, if you listen to their weather report very well, they're able to cover some of these areas. And we are in constant engagement with them. And so if they determine, they can tell you the sea will be warm, the tidal, the currents will be high and all that. Whether Meteo is able to determine that. And so when they give us that report, we can tell the people that, yes, this is the weather warning and they should be careful. Based on Meteo's report, yes, we can do that.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. George AEC, his communications officer.
You're welcome.
At NADMO. Thank you for your time. Let me quickly go back to Dr. Kwashiga, who is still on the line with us. Hello, Dr. Kwashiga. Yes, you're still there. Yes. Now, when we look at the occurrence of these tidal waves, so you're saying that coastal areas are more prone to the impact of these tidal waves than other areas, especially flat areas, you said?
Yeah. Areas that are low-lying, they are more prone to this because, like I said, once the water level goes beyond a certain threshold, it overtops, and then those areas are below or just a little bit above sea level will be flooded. So the low-lying areas, and definitely that's our eastern coast is low-lying, and so that is why we see this happening frequently there.
Beyond the impact, physical impact that we see, because these things happen, the immediate impact is the destruction of properties and lives. Is there any impact beyond the physical that we see?
Of course. Well, apart from the livelihoods, like you rightly said, we also have, once this saline water is entering land, we also see that there's saltwater intrusion into the aquifer. So if you are relying on groundwater and all that is being affected, the freshwater system is being affected, the biology also changes. So all these come together and affect the people in the area. So it goes beyond what you can just see immediately. The long-term effects are also there.
So Kwashiga, give me a moment. Let me just announce our phone lines and we can move on with the discussion. So if you're listening to us, especially if from the Keta areas, Keta, Angloga, Ketu South, please get on the line and let us know the extent of the devastation, how you have been affected and what you have observed in your area. The phone lines to call are 0550 331511. Again, that's 0550 331511 or 020 473 8481. Again, 020 473 8481. We're discussing the tidal waves that have recently hit some parts of the Volta region. We just spoke with NADMO's communications director, Mr. George AEC. We also spoke with the Member of Parliament for Keita over there earlier in the conversation. We also spoke with the District Chief Executive. Now, let me just go back to our environmentalist who's on the line, Dr. Kwashiga. What is the possibility of the waves? Now, give me a moment. Let me just go to the line. There's someone on the phone already from Adan. Hello, Bismarck. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes. Talk to us.
Yeah, the same challenge that the Keita people are facing is also happening at Adan here. Just recently, the sea waves have entered most of the houses at Akalabanya, Anyamam, and those areas, and they are really suffering. Today, we have seen the Nano people from Keita Accra passing by, but we don't know what the government is trying to do to help the people. So, we really need the government to come and help us, because the issue here is very, very serious.
You're saying now, is there the same situation in Adan?
Yes, the same situation is at Adan now. But since the media is not aware of it, the same situation is at Adan now.
Right.
Akalabanya, specifically, Akalabanya.
Akalabanya?
Yes, it's at Adan.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you.
Adan, Akalabanya.
Thank you for that information. We'll quickly relate to the communications officer of NADMO, who was on the line earlier. Thank you so much, Bismarck. Let me just announce the lines again there. That's 0550-331511 and 020-4738-481. I'm going back to speak with Dr. Kwashiga. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I was asking what the likelihood of the waves moving to other areas is, but as we can understand, is Adan also a low-lying area? Because Bismarck just mentioned that Adan has also been affected by these tidal waves.
Yes, so in fact, the Volta Delta actually, the area starts from just after Pampram, then all the way down to the flower border. So all these areas are low-lying, and by definition, it's only if you go up to Sugakope that you begin to go beyond the 5-meter contour, the 5-meter height. So Adan, all those places are part of it, and we've been underground doing some studies on the impact of climate change for some time, and it is clear that if we don't intervene, if we don't do anything about the situation, very soon up to the 5-meter contour, by the end of the century, all those areas will be under the water. So I would like to add my voice to what others are saying, that we need to stick to, especially governments, to stick to commitments. If it comes to putting in interventions, but of course, if we need to put in interventions, we need to make sure that they are right, they are backed by data, they are backed by research, not just putting the intervention without any background work on it. So we need to stick to our commitment. And this is something, like I said, is happening not only here in Ghana, but it's just that some areas feel the impact more than others.
Yes, Dr. Kwashiga, let me just quickly interrupt you there again. We have a caller who's been waiting on the line. Emmanuel from Adoko. Hello. Okay. Unfortunately, I think he got tired of waiting. Emmanuel, please call back. I'll take the call quickly. Let me just go back to Dr. Kwashiga. Now, Doc, you were mentioning that if we do not put in some real intervention, by the end of the century, these places will be completely underwater. Now, apart from the Sea Defense Project, is there any other form of intervention that can be put in place to solve this?
Yes, so even now, what engineering is moving in terms of coastal protection, we should be thinking of more of the software. Now, number one, for our area, in fact, it is hard for people to move. But in this situation, I would also say that if it is possible for people to be moved to a higher ground, then proper designing and research, because once the area is below sea level, the chances are that if in the future the sea defense fails, it will come back to the same situation. So if it is possible, we invest in that. I know it's costly and all that, but if it is possible, people are moved to higher ground, then the whole area is redesigned in a kind of way. We'll do proper design and proper setup. Then that will may salvage the situation in the future. And also, if globally we as nations commit to this call to end climate change by using cleaner energies and all that, if we toe that line, then we will not be talking about this because then the situation may begin to reverse. This is the big picture about it. The situation may begin to reverse, and then our land will be safe for habitation. But immediately, apart from the sea defense, those are the hard engineering. We can also do offshore breakwaters to intercept the waves before they hit the ground.
Give me a minute.
Like I said, this all.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you in a moment for you to explain exactly what you mean by offshore breakwaters. That's an interesting term there. But let me take Mr. Adi from Anya. Mr. Adi.
Yes, madam.
Yes, tell me.
Madam, this is what we will see. If we have our big men, using our the state resources, this is what will happen to us. What will happen to a human being?
Mr. Adi, they've started a sea defense project. Phase 1 has been completed.
How long? Madam, for how long? For how long? For how long, madam? See, if we have our big men misusing our state resources, the president is battling in the air. See what is happening to a human being.
Mr. Adi, where do you live? Are you close to any of these happenings?
Yes, my mom. I have a family there. So look at what happened to a human being there.
What immediate intervention are you helping the family with while NADMO is trying to assess the situation properly?
Yes, I think we can bring them to Accra here because we don't know what we are going to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Adi. Mr. Adi seems to have been personally affected by the situation. Thank you for letting us know. I'll go back to the environmentalist, Mr. Kwashiga. You were just about to tell us some of the terms you were using.
Sorry, yes. So, yes, I mentioned offshore breakwater. That is just like a barrier, which is not on the shore like the seawall, but it's offshore and it's able to intercept the highways before. So it breaks offshore before coming to land. So that is just to reduce the impact of the
water,
the waves breaking just on land and then removing and destroying property. But then also we can also be thinking about reclaiming. That's why I said if we can move to higher ground, these areas are low lying. So reclaiming them, I think that as part of the Keta Sea Defense, we see a clear example there. So the land was reclaimed to a certain point before the structures were put in place. So that could be done. And all these are cost intensive. And so if we are investing into it, we need to do it properly and be committed to it.
There. Let me just take Felix on the line. Hello? Yes, please. Your name and where you are calling from, yes.
Yeah, Mom, please. My name is Felix. I'm calling from Hohoe.
Hohoe, okay. Talk to us.
Yeah, please. I can talk about something briefly about the sea.
Yes.
You know, like I used to fish at Keta. Yeah. So the reason why like the sea used to be disturbing us over there, it's like the sea used to be like taking some from other side, like from one place to another, and like in every season, it will be taking sun from one place to another. So when you take the sun from one place to another, and then it actually went to the second place to take the sun from that place, and actually, like people like taking for the sun, then it will be like sliding all over the place. So that's the main reason, like the sea, the sea is disturbing us in a place.
Do you think moving the people to a higher ground is a good solution to this.
Yeah, actually, it's a higher ground, but like man activities to be taking sand from the coast every day. Taking sand from the coast. So that's the reason why sliding every day, every season in Keta.
All right, thank you so much for getting on the line and giving us that update there. Let me go back to Dr. Kwashiga. Doc, what is the significance of mangroves in shielding these communities against the impact of the tidal waves?
Yes, so just to continue from when the last caller, he tried to talk about our activities along the removing sand and all that. Yes, like I said, naturally there are barriers like sand dunes that are able to intercept this. But once we remove it, we expose the area. So he's right by that. And in terms of mangroves are actually also natural forms of barrier that are able to intercept waves as they come in. But if you look at the Keta area, if you look at the natural strand of mangroves, it's more at the estuary area and then going inland. So as you move away from the estuary, you see that it's more active, more energetic. The wave is more energetic. So if you put a mangrove on the shoreline, I don't think that would really help. In fact, Keta,
should we so do you think we should be planting more vegetation along the coast to help with this, or it doesn't help in any way?
Definitely, it helps. It helps because as the waters overtop and come on land, this vegetation slow down the energy that the water is carrying. So the impact will be less felt. So yes, vegetation and mangroves and all that would help. But what I was trying to explain is you can put that right on the shoreline because immediately you put it there to go because the waves will take it away. But at the back of the beach, vegetation, and I see that they are replanting coconuts, trees and all that, which is good. At least it helps slow down the impact of the water as it comes on land.
Dr. Kwashiga, let me take Christine from Sunyani, who's on the line. Christian, hello.
Yeah, hello, madam.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this tidal wave is something still happening. I have my family at Jita. Okay, yeah, so this morning they called me, the impact, and some of us, we are supporting the family. So when this incident happened, they are calling us that we should support them because they are in need. But my question that you can help me to find out, the way the meteo people predict that today or tomorrow it will rain, can they also predict that maybe a day or two this can, and maybe there will be a tidal wave maybe along the coast, so that those agencies or institutions, those who are in charge, they can go there and educate people so that they can move. Because like for the long-term solution that we are all hearing, the resettlement, which means that people have to leave the work that they have been doing for so many years before some of us were born. So it means that they have to live there and go and settle somewhere. Now the civil defense that we are also saying, it's also a capital intensive. So you can imagine all along from, let's say, Anyawi, all along to Aplawu, they should be hot. Civil defense is not a small thing because once you are doing it, then you stop. Surely, maybe another day or another time, there will be another, tidal wave, which will also affect another community. So it is not a small thing, but I think that you can find out from us whether the nature can also predict that maybe they can see that maybe tomorrow or next there will be a tidal wave, maybe at maybe Jika or Anyari or Keta North Star. So I think you can help us there too, so that you can see what you can also do. Because all this it has effect on some of us, they are telling us to help them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christian. I think we actually asked the NADMO communications officer about this, and he mentioned that this is something the Meteo Department should be on top of and warning the residents about. So we'll be following up on that after the program. But let me go back to Dr. Kwashiga. Dr. Kwashiga, these questions keep coming up about the Meteo making sure that they preempt these tidal disruptions and warn residents at least. So I'm sure some of them will pay heed and move out of the area. But is this something that can be detected before it happens?
Yes, right. I think it is, we have, of course, early warning systems. And this, in fact, we're just looking at some of the coincidence, or should I say, some of the things, trying to put some of the data together. In fact, Meteo sent out a warning about storms and wind conditions, I think a couple of days ago. And then also, if you look at it, new moon was just on the 4th of November. And we said that it is during new moon that we have the high tides. And then if windy conditions are there, then this thing can be pushed further. So it is possible that we can have an early warning system. If we work with NADMO oceanographers, we can put in place an early warning system. We can be able to predict and then tell us when this will happen. Of course, not all of them. Some of them may be predictable, but at least
having something
regular
sounds better. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me go to the line and speak with Israel. Hello, Israel.
Yes, hello, madam. Good evening for your time.
Yes, thank you too for your time.
Yeah, thank you, madam. You see, this problem is an age-old problem. But then the conscious effort by our leaders to see an end to this problem is missing. The willingness and the conscious effort to solve this problem is missing. Madam, you hear the communication director of NADMO saying that this is capital intensive. Sea defense project is capital intensive. But then when it comes to the people, the project is capital intensive. But when it comes to our leaders, it is not intensive. The issue at Salakofa, the same thing happened even before. We were able to rent a private jet for 15,000 per hour. Multiply it by 6 hours. Is it not capital intensive for this nation? A developing nation like Ghana, is it not capital intensive to rent a private jet for 15,000 pounds per hour? And when it comes to the masses, the people, it is capital intensive. Wow. Please, it's about time our leaders make conscious effort to change the future of this country, to change the development story of this country. We should do that. If we have started doing this in every year, let us do even 5 meters along the coast of sea defense, one day we'll end this problem. If we can do this 5 meters every year, let's put it in our budget that every year we'll do 5 meters. At the end of the day, we'll solve this problem one day. But they will wait and when it happens, then they will organize press conference and tell us anything. We are the people. They should continue to enjoy. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Israel from Tegbi. Israel is giving another perspective. He thinks due to the capital-intensive nature of the project, the sea defense project specifically, it should be approached slowly, a little bit at a time, factored into the budget and executed gradually. Let me go back to the line to Dr. Kwashiga. Doc, yes, the individuals who live in these areas, is there a way in which they can protect themselves beyond completely fleeing the area?
Well, I would say that, of course, sometimes they are also able to predict these things. So for now, what they can do is, if they know that the season is there, this thing is happening, you better flee to a safer place, because there's nothing as an individual you can do to stop it. Yeah, so the best way is to find a safer place to stay. Like we said, it's a whole project on its own, and I agree partially with the previous speaker, but we can also not protect the whole coast if you come to ecological thing, ecosystem services and all that. If we do that, it will come back to us. So, like I said in the beginning, we need a lot of engineering research, engineering, data collection, and I agree that we need to push government to have monitoring systems in place. Okay, this will also, if those things are not in place, Meteo cannot help because if we don't have historical data and all that on, for example, sea level, on, for example, wave activities and all that, we are not able to model and predict. So government have to also commit to have such national data, support such ventures, and then let's have some long-term monitoring in place. In that way, we can have a better early warning system to help our people. And actually, I was born in an agree in Keta, so I relate with the situation very well.
Let me come back to that. I want to hear the story there. But there's someone on the line from Odoko. Emmanuel.
Yeah, madam. Good evening,
Yes.
madam.
Good evening, Emmanuel.
I'm calling from Odoko, please.
Thank you for calling. Let us hear you.
Okay. Actually, what I can say about this rain reinforcement is that we are all human beings in this earth. And we are no volunteer on voting to fellow person, just a fellow person as a president. You, the man himself on the seat, you must notify those areas all in such a way that water kills, water can snatch or do small many things. You understand? And let's say damage property. So now, what I am seeing in this constitution is that, or in this Ghana, is tribalism. Those, our elder ministers and those big people, they are falling into histories. There was a time ago they said geography of voter region is part of Togo list, which is very bad. So we are waiting to our fellow brothers and sisters.
Beyond the voter region, some other areas have also reported some tidal waves. How is it tribal?
No, in terms of history, because that's what I normally used to hear from the government. You see, so they have divided their section in such a way that if there's other places getting spoiling, they will not mind. And the majority of the money that we have been making in this Ghana, what are they using it for? For me, I'm not into politics, but one.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you so much, Emmanuel from Odoko. Let me just go back to the line to Dr. Kwashiga so he can finish it up for us. Thank you, Doc.
Yes. So, I said, most of my research has focused on that area because I grew up there, so I remember those times of high erosion. The sea took building into our church, the Catholic Church, and then began building back. To say specifically, for example, we started monitoring Fuveme area around 2015 when the issue started destroying households. So we monitored and we had data showing that once this thing starts, naturally to continue, and then now Fuveme is gone completely. The whole town is gone. And so it tells you that it's not something that you can fight as an individual. We need to come together and we need to stick to our commitment and do something about it. Because like I said, once it has started like this, we'll see it happening. Unless, of course, we reverse climate change, then we'll see a positive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwashiga. Dr. Kwashiga is a research fellow at the Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies at Legon, and he is reiterating a call for there to be a deliberate and immediate effort as a matter of urgency to block off that area, especially resume the sea defense project, because in the absence of that, he's predicting that the whole area will be submerged in the next few years. To you at home, thank you so much for joining us. Please continue the conversation online at MX24GH. My name is Noong Falong. On behalf of the entire production team, especially my producer, Ajua Tinkrama, we're grateful for your time. Good evening.